Hey, what's up everybody? It's Rutech. Today, I will be talking about an in the meantime PC. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, surely if you're planning on building a PC right now, you know that the graphics card prices are, to say the least, not desirable. The prices are 2 to 4 times their MSRP. Like, now is not the time to be buying graphics cards. But you can still build a PC and you still can use it. You just can't really game on it for now unless you're willing to pay that big price to get a half decent graphics card. This is, like I said, an in the meantime PC because in the meantime, while you're waiting for prices to drop or for you to be able to snipe a 30 series graphics card that restocks, you can still build your PC and have it all ready to go for when that graphics card ships to your doorstep. I mean, it'll literally be plug and play when you get that graphics card. And yes, I will be building this PC. I have all the parts sitting in the studio all ready to go, so be sure to subscribe or keep your eyes open for the full build tutorial for this $1,000 PC. So in this video, I'm giving my own parts selections for a specific price range, but perhaps you have a different smaller or bigger budget, or you're looking for something with different specific features and want a more personalized recommendation from a highly trustworthy source. Well, there's this new and upcoming free shopping tool called Lustre. It's a free Chrome extension that gives you exactly that. Not only does it find and analyze trusted expert reviews, but it also brings up discussion forums mentioning products, like on Reddit or video reviews on YouTube. Let me give you guys a little demo. So I'm looking for the best CPU for around $500, so it gives me the top 5 CPUs for that exact price range. And it backs up exactly why they're the top 5 with tons of info and data. Let's take a look at what they tell me about the i9-10900K. It compares a bunch of 1 to 10 scores from multiple trustworthy websites, such as PC Mag, PC Gamer, Windows Central, Tom's Hardware, etc. And then right below that, it shows me all the tech specs, which I really like. The point is, you're going to be saving a lot of time and money using Lustre. Link to get Lustre is in my description. So the first part I want to talk about is the CPU. I chose the good old Ryzen 3600. The 3600 has been one of the most popular CPUs for a good while now, and there's really good reasoning behind that. First, with the specs, we're looking at a base clock of 3.6 GHz, a boost clock of 4.2 GHz, 6 cores, 12 threads, and the ability to overclock. 3600 can handle anything you wish to throw at it: gaming, rendering, web browsing, doing your homework, you name it. This processor can execute with flying colors, which is certainly among the reasons why this processor is so popular. Some other key items worth mentioning: this CPU has pretty low power consumption and supports PCIe 4.0. In short, the 3600 will provide excellent performance in your day-to-day tasks as a gamer, student, employee, whatever it may be. Now the 3600 comes with a cooler, the Wraith Stealth, which is fine, not terrible, but it's not what I would recommend for long-term use, especially if you plan on doing some overclocking. So for an aftermarket cooler, I recommend the Deepcool GameX GT cooler. Deepcool CPU coolers are typically going to be some of the best for your money, and the GameX GT is no exception. This cooler also has some nice ARGB features too. Not going to go too in depth with this cooler, but some basic good things to know about this cooler is it has 4 heat pipes. It's included 120mm fan runs at up to 1650 RPM and has a relatively easy installation process, which, trust me, you will not find with a lot of CPU coolers, unfortunately. Next up is the motherboard, the MSI MPG X570 Gaming Edge Wi-Fi ATX board. Now, if you're looking for future proofing, you're certainly going to want to have a good motherboard, and this MSI board gives you all that you'll need for potential future upgrades, especially because this motherboard is indeed compatible with the new Ryzen 5000 series CPUs. As for the memory specs, it has a max memory capacity of 128 gigabytes, max memory speed of 4400 megahertz, and has 4 total RAM slots. Additionally, there's 2 M.2 slots, one of which we'll be using for our NVMe storage. And yes, this board does come with Wi-Fi built in. Unfortunately, it is only Wi-Fi 5, not 6. That really shouldn't be a problem unless you have some lightning fast Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi 5 is still more than enough for most modern tasks. No bad VRMs in this motherboard either, so overclocking will present no issues. So yeah, in both the short term and long term, this board will provide and give you exactly what you need for a phenomenal gaming PC. And before I continue, just a quick thing I want to let you guys know about. I will be moving all of these discussion videos to my second channel, Rue Builds. Any video with gameplay in the background with me doing a voiceover, well, you'll find all of those on my brand new second channel, so please be sure to check it out and hit the sub button. Link will be in the description and pinned comment. Anyway, next is the RAM. I chose out the PNY XLR8 16GB, so 268GB DDR4 3200 MHz CL16 RAM. Right now, RAM prices are on a bit of an uphill. Typically, I would put 3600 MHz CL16 RAM in a PC like this, but due to the rising prices, it's going to be 3200 MHz this time around, and that's fine. You're really not going to be seeing a major performance difference between the two anyway. But yeah, 3200 MHz, a pretty typical speed to be paired with a Ryzen 5 3600, as well as CL16, so good CAS latency, and a nice touch of RGB along the top of the modules. And 16GB, well, that is definitely enough for all games, both present day and games to be released in the future. But hey, we're only using 2 sticks in this build, so upgrading to 32GB is an option since our motherboard has 4 RAM slots. Next up is the storage. For this build, I chose 2 different storage devices, one NVMe SSD and one hard drive. The NVMe SSD is the crucial P2 500GB version. I have used the P2 in multiple builds and it never fails to have not only reliability but insanely fast speeds, so booting up your PC, file transfers, game map load speeds, whatever it may be. It will also be super easy to install. All you gotta do is just plop it on the motherboard, screw it in, and you're done. This SSD is where you'll want to install Windows and the games, files, programs that you open the most, anything you just want super fast access to. For the hard drive, I chose the Seagate Barracuda 2TB hard drive. This hard drive has just about everything you look for in a high capacity drive, a nice sizable cache of 256 megabytes, and a revolution speed of 7200 RPM. With hard drives, you don't really want to mess around with which drive you buy. You want reliability, and the Barracuda Compute hard drive is overall a well-regarded, reliable drive that you'll find in many gaming PCs. And yeah, it's great, inexpensive drive to store games or other large files you don't need extremely rapid access to. The case we'll be using is the Deepcool Gamerstorm Macube 310 ATX chassis. Now in my last $700 build, I used the micro ATX version of this case, the Macube 110, and it was a fantastic case to build in. The 330 is just the larger version of it for ATX builds. It also comes with one 120mm fan, which is always a nice thing to have. Now you don't have to use this case in particular. You can use pretty much any ATX case you'd like, but this is absolutely a case that is friendly to beginners and experienced builders alike. And it's a really cool looking case too. Next, the item that will power all of our components, the power supply. I chose the high wattage, high efficiency rating, highly trustworthy power supply, which is the Seasonic Focus Plus 750 watt 80 plus gold supply. Obviously for this base build, this is a bit overkill, but once you install a 3080 and or upgrade your CPU and perhaps even overclock, it starts making tons more sense. In short, it's a future-proofing method. Instead of getting a cheaper, lower wattage supply for this interlude PC, you'll have a power supply that is completely ready for virtually anything a typical gamer would throw at it. Now, if you were to get a lower end power supply, you'd have to rip it out, install a new one, sell the old one. If you were to get like a 3080 or something, it's just a big mess and hassle that you're not going to want to deal with. But yeah, the Seasonic Focus Plus lineup is among the best, very silent and efficient performance, highly reliable, and has an 80 plus gold efficiency rating. And I have used a Seasonic Focus Plus in one of my builds before. I believe it was the $1,200 build. And yeah, it did fantastic. Great power supply. And now the fans. You really can use any set of 120mm fans that you'd like, but I chose the Deepcool RF 120Ms simply because they're so well priced and performed fantastic in my previous build. These fans also come with a hub, and last spec worth mentioning, these can hit up to 1500 RPM, which is more than enough for this PC and really any average gaming PC for that matter. And what about the graphics card? Well, that is completely up to you. This PC is meant to be set up so that you can choose any graphics card that you like, whether it be a 1650 Super or an RTX 3080. In the meantime though, I recommend that you use the GT 710, which yes, is a graphics card that is in stock, relatively cheap, and all you're really going to be using it for is to be able to get a display from your PC until you can go get your dream video card, since the 3600 does not have integrated graphics. Now, you don't have to, but hey, you're gonna go insane, so to prevent the madness, just buy one of these and sell it when you get your new card. And you can use pretty much any old graphics card, perhaps one that is in your old PC if you have one. It really doesn't matter, any graphics card will work for giving you a display while you're searching for a reasonably priced modern graphics card. Be sure to leave a comment if you have any questions about this. But yeah, that will wrap it up for today's PC discussion video. Remember, I will be building this PC and uploading a full tutorial on it, so be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified when it's up. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like. If you have any comments or questions, drop a comment below. And if you enjoy the content you're seeing, drop a sub. Hey, subscribe to Roo Builds. I'm watching you. Thanks for watching. Peace out.